Your favorite F word is factor, for those of you who aren't repeating this course. Apparently, other words come to mind for those of you who are planning on taking this class again.
You brought it up.
Not my favorite F word. All right? So we're talking about simplifying rational expressions in this, and that's what we just did back here. These are all expressions you're reducing, top and bottom. And I'm going to show you some shortcut tricks here today. You want to make sure you add those into your little tool belt of tricks. Just as a quick reminder, this stuff you should be factoring this page in 60 seconds or less. So go ahead and hit. Okay, first one, Bryce, how's the factor?
Oh, well, I got it plus 6 minus 3.
Jagger, how about the second one here?
I got x parentheses x plus 3 plus.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. Irene, how about 3?
X plus 4, X plus 6.
Excellent. X cubed plus 27, Grant?
What?
How you doing?
I can't hit that one.
Oh, okay. Giacomo?
X plus 2. All your parentheses. Yeah, your parentheses. Put it together.
Yeah, I'll come back to that.
X plus, you want to keep going with the trend.
Where do you want to put in the trend?
So it's like X, I put X plus 2, not X plus 2.
Okay.
3.
Right, still not right.
X plus 3.
Yep, still not right.
X plus 3, and then in another parentheses, x squared minus 3x plus 2.
Girl.
Okay.
Because this is a sum of the cubes. A cubed plus B cubed, A plus B, A squared minus AB plus B squared. You have to study this. You cannot fake your way through this stuff. If you don't know it, go back and review your notes on factoring. Now what we are looking at is rational expressions today. How do you know it's an expression? There's no equal sign. Right? How do we simplify? We factor the top, factor the bottom, and then cross out any common factors, with one exception to that. So we want you to be able to look at these things, and we want you to say, look, I can factor this. The top factors 2, x minus 4 squared. The bottom factors 2, x plus 6 times x minus 4. Since I have an x minus 4 on the top twice and an x minus 4 on the bottom, we can cross these out. We're really subtracting the exponents. 2 minus 1 is going to leave me with x minus 4 on the top and x plus 6 on the bottom. You cannot cross-cancel the x's. You cannot reduce the 4 and the 6 because of the plussing and minusing. If you can't factor, you are toast. And those of you who are factoring is marginal, you are going to get to the end of the period on the test next week, and you're going to say, I'm only halfway done, because you take days to factor. You don't have that luxury, folks.
If they're multipliers, it's going to be.
Who's they? If they are not identical, you can. If you have an x plus 4 and an x plus 4, you get 1. If you have an x plus 4 and an x plus 6, it's a plus and a plus. It doesn't. They're set. You have binomial top, binomial on the bottom. The factor is x minus 4. If you can't get another x minus 4, you cannot cross cancel. Plussing and minusing means you have separate terms. So you have to treat the x minus 4 is one factor, and the x plus 6 is a factor. You can only cross them out with others that are like that. You don't need parentheses in your answers. Try this one. All right. Aditi, how do you factor the top?
X plus 5 times x plus 2.
Got it, girl. Brenna, bottom?
X plus 2 x minus 2.
Riley, what can you cancel? Let's
The x plus 2's cancel, so it's just x plus 5 over x minus 2.
x plus 5 over x minus 2, and then you cross cancel the x's, and you get 5 over negative 2, right? Good Lord, Riley. You do too.
No.
Yes.
Keep it.
You keep it just like that. We can only cross cancel an x and a plus 5 on the top with another x plus 5. Yes, I did trick her. And she went right for the bait. If you were a fish, they would catch you and eat you. You would have caught someone. Oh, look at this shiny thing. Arr. The end. It's all over.
So I was like, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I just told you a few minutes ago, don't cross cancel like this. The only way if this was multiplication, 5 times x and negative 2 times x, then you can do the x's. But on this one, no way, no way. What parentheses?
X plus 5. Yeah, you have to leave.
What do you think, Dave?
No.
Why do you think that?
Well, I thought yes, just because.
Well, what do you think now?
Because we're not certain.
Yeah, you don't need them. It doesn't do anything for you to have them or not have them.
Well, the reason why I thought that was because you said you can't cross cancel x's.
Correct.
So if it was one problem, then that would make it clear that you can't cross.
And if that helps you, by all means, do that. But if you think about what I'm telling you, if you have 5 plus 3 over 5 minus 2, okay, and you're telling me we can cross out the 5s, if you think that's true, and your answer is negative 1.5.
Well, you can't because you have to combine it.
Regardless, it should still work, whether you're combining or not combining. This should work if it's going to work. Okay? But we know that 5 plus 3 is 8, and 5 minus 2 is 3, sorry, and 8 over 3 does not equal 1.5. So this is not an equivalent situation, so we don't want to do that. We want to leave these the way they are. Try this one. We're going to kind of ramp up the level of difficulty as we go. One. Nothing to do on the top, 3x squared. Kylie, what about the bottom here? You don't know. What are you doing over there? No? What do you think? What did you do? So you changed the top into something else? Like what? Just out of curiosity. The top just turned into a 1? No, just the top. So if I put that on your paper and said simplify, you would go 1? So there's nothing to do on the top, right? What can you do to the bottom? Did you factor the bottom?
Oh, ask.
Take out a 3x squared, and you'd be left with 2 plus 3x. How are you seeing that?
Yes.
You know why you didn't see that? I'm going to tell you why if you don't know why. Because it's a binomial, and we tend to skip the first step of factoring, which is look for something in common. If you don't look for something in common in these tops and bottoms, you're going to make some mistakes as a result. Because they're going to sneak in a common factor every once in a while. It's like I'm at a concert.
That makes it have fun. So what I did was like I simplified the 3x squared and 6x squared, so I got 1 on the top, and then 2 plus 9x.
We get a personal foul, illegal cross canceling. That's a 15-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Why did that like that?
Because you're, again, what you're doing is you say you have a 5 over 5 plus 3. And you're going like this. Because of this plus sign, you have just broken the law.
Okay.
The math police will have to arrest you. Now, if you factor it out, and then you cross cancel, because now we have multiplication here, we are going to get the 1, but it's over 2 plus 3x.
That makes sense.
Okay? Now you can't simplify that, and you can't separate it into a half plus 1 over 3x. You can't do that either. That 2 plus 3x is one thing. No mess with it. All right?
Don't do it.
So now you have pain and suffering, which some of you like so much, and you have a more direct way. All of these are monomial factors. So it's very different than what we're going to see when you have polynomial factors top and bottom. But the general drill is to factor top, factor bottom, factor top, factor bottom, and then cross cancel and multiply. Nothing needs to be factored because they're all monomials, so we don't have to worry about it. Bless you. Nothing. They're identical. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this problem. But again, the second way is pain and suffering. I just know that some of you like pain and suffering. What's that? Kevin? I think, again, when it's all monomial, the way to do it is to get rid of the 2, make it all together. So 5 times 27 is 135, x to the 7th, y to the 3rd. 45, x to the 5th, y to the 5th. If you don't know the rules of exponents, and you can't do that, then, again, you're not doing your job. And the next 3 weeks is going to be the worst part of this course for you. There's no doubt about it. You need to know your properties of exponents. 45 goes into 135 3 times. X to the 7th, x to the 5th, how does it reduce? Square up. And y to the on the bottom. 5 is bigger than 3, 5 minus 3, y squared on the bottom.
So that works because they're multiplying and there's no like addition.
No plussing or minusing, these are all monomial factors. And so what you want to do is put them together as one, and then it's easier to reduce. Your other choice, the or, yes?
Well, why is 3 on top?
Where do you want it to be?
Well, you have
135 divided by 45. Do you get 1/3 or do you get 3?
Oh, 3.
You get 3. You have 3 45s. 3 times 45 on the top and a 45. The 45s are crossing out, you're left with the 3 at the top. Okay? Now the other choice on how to do this, and again, those of you who don't like pain and suffering, you might want to just avert your eyes and plug up your ears. But I know some of you like the pain and suffering. You can cross cancel the 3 with the 27. You can cross cancel the 5 with the 15. You can cross cancel this 3 with this 9. You can cross cancel the x to the 4th with x to the 5th. You can cross cancel this x with the remaining x here. You can do these y's with 3 of those y's. And now you have to say, well, what the heck do I have left? It looks like I have an x squared and a 3. And you have a y and nothing but another y. It looks like y squared. You can do anything you want. You can cross cancel anything on the top with anything in the bottom, as long as this is your answer. Jane, look at it. If you choose to do the x's this way, that's different than choosing to do the x's this way or this way. I'm not selling this as a method because, as you can see, it's kind of confusing. So I think this works really well for monomials, and this is what I would recommend. Some people say, yeah, but it's so much more work, Mr. Lockeray. Not so much, because you're just putting the top and bottom together, and then you're simplifying.
How did you cancel the x to the 5th?
I canceled it with x to the 4th. That leaves you with an x on the top.
Yeah. So would it be an x?
To the 1st, which I canceled with this x, which gives you no x, leaving you with x squared on the top. So again, this is what I'm telling you should do. Those of you who want to do this, at your own risk. Not something I would recommend for you. Either way, you get the same answer.
That's obviously better.
In my opinion, I don't know if I'm doing this clearly enough. This is what you should do. This is at your own risk because it's kind of confusing. This is pain and suffering, in my opinion. But again, that's just do what you want. I don't care, you're honest. This is the same idea, except they are not monomial factors. So factor, 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 factor. Top, bottom. I know that it means rewriting, but it is not optional. Putting your lazy t-shirt on is not a good idea. This is not the way to go on this. Do not try to put on the lazy t-shirt. Okay, so on the left-hand side, Zach, how's the top factor? What do you do on the top?
Take out the 2x.
And what's left?
X plus 2.
X plus 2. Tyler, on the bottom left?
On the bottom left,
Yeah.
I got x minus 6, x plus 2.
Oh, what? Kaylin, top right? Yep, do it with me. Top right.
X minus 9. No. I have to write it down. You're making me do it.
You know what? Right here. That's what you're doing. You're not helping. I didn't hear her. What'd she say?
X minus 6 and x plus 3.
Are you sure it's not plus 6 and minus 3?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's a negative 9.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But it's do the math.
Write it down. What do you want it to be?
I need to do it on my own pace. You're making now on the
Kyle, what do we get? You're whining again.
X minus 6, x minus 3.
Right. And on the bottom, stays at 2x. If you can't do them on the fly, get better at factoring. You need to be able to do them on the fly. You need to be able to get thrown at you. Here's the problem. You should be doing them in your head at this stage. If you can't, what are you going to do about it? And stop making excuses. You guys can no longer afford to be factorless. You've got to be able to do this. Once you get them factored, then it's just cross them out. Chase, what can I cross?
We cross out the 2x plus 2 on the,
What else?
I'm not sure if you can.
Yep, you can.
On the other side, you cross out the x minus 6 with,
As long as you're multiplying anywhere on the top with anywhere on the bottom.
which means you can also cancel out the 2x,
Absolutely. So what's left?
x minus 3.
That's x minus 3. And anywhere in the top can cross out with anywhere in the bottom. It's got to be multiplication, however. That's why we have to factor, 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 and we have to have multiplication between the two rational expressions. What's that? Wowzers, yeah. Try this one. But hang on. Top left, Kurt.
Top left is back out to 5x,
And left with
4 minus x.
4 minus x.
Why can't you do x minus 4?
Aaron, bottom left.
Factor out 4 minus 6.
X minus 1. Brian, top right.
X plus 4, x minus 1.
X minus 1, you said? Kaylee, bottom right.
X plus 4.
Girl, difference of 2 squares there. Now, when we start to do crossing out, and you have, what could we cross out, Andy? Do you see anything that will cross?
X plus 4, x plus 4.
Okay, so those are gone. What else?
X minus 4x. X minus 1,
X minus 1 and x minus 1, and
x 5x.
the x in the 5x?
The x in.
Okay, so this x and this x. So at this point, I'm not telling you you need to write this down, but I'm going to write it down. 5 and 4 minus x is what we have on the top, and x minus 4 on the bottom, which is different than 4 minus x. They're not the same. Okay, so hold that thought for 1 second and take a look. A minus B, B minus A, that's what we're talking about. A plus B over B plus A. What does that reduce to? 1. Because those are the same. Top is the same as the bottom. You just wrote them in a different order. But if you have 10 minus 3 compared to 3 minus 10, which is this one, negative 1. When you have A minus B and B minus A, it's going to reduce to negative 1. So that's a good question. Let's go back and take a look. If they cross cancel here, do you want to put a negative 1 in the bottom or the top? Always the top. You never want your bottom term to be negative. You always want to give it to the top. So this becomes negative 5 as your final answer. Not equals negative 5, just negative 5. No. Your work for these problems come down the page. They do not have equals in them at all.
Before you do the down step, like 5x with parentheses 4 minus x on top, with that one, could you take out a negative and make it easier so it's
Yep.
x minus 4 so that you can cross cancel?
Great observation. If you would prefer to take a negative out of this, then that would have become, if you took a negative 5x out, you would have had x minus 4 here. Personally, I think that's hard to plan on doing because you're assuming that there's going to be an x minus 4 over here, and that's not always the case. Sometimes there will be a 4 minus x. So I would encourage you not to do that, but it's totally fine with me either way. It's a legitimate factoring step. Everybody good on this example? This trick you want to put so that you can say, okay, I understand. When I have minus and we switch, that equals -1 when we cross cancel. Okay? A minus B, B minus A reduces to -1 always. If it's plusing and you reverse them, they're the same. 5 plus 8 and 8 plus 5, they're both 13. It reduces to 1. But when it's minus, it reduces to -1. Brennan, you all set?
Yeah.
Sure?
Wait. Yeah.
This one looks a little bit different than what we've done first. What should you do first? Before that, put it over 1 so that you recognize tops and bottoms. And it seems like such a simple thing to do, but people mix up where the x squared minus 2x plus 4 goes. Is it a top or a bottom? It's a top. So now, go ahead and factor, factor, factor. All right. So top left, nothing to factor. Bottom left, we just said, is a sum of the cubes. So it should factor like that. What did I tell you about this second trinomial? It's never factorable, which means that x squared minus 2x plus 4 also not factorable, because same. Even if it was factorable, there's no reason to factor it, because you should see, hey, I already got one of those, so when I'm cross-canceling, they're going to cancel anyway. Really? Why are you making faces at me? Because they're identical? How's your Thanksgiving? Good? Yeah. And you didn't touch this book since we left here on Friday, huh? It's like I'm a seer. And we can cross-cancel these x's, right? Riley? X over x is 1. Okay. X minus 4. X plus 2. Yes, this is 2 cubed. 2 cubed. X cubed, 2 cubed. No, you just need to know that it's a sum of the cubes, and the thing being cubed is 2. So it's x plus 2, x squared minus, and then the product of x and 2 is 2x plus 2 squared. Okay?
So what you said, you can't cancel the x's that last
Right
column?
here.
Yeah, on the last column. Cancel the 5.
That was a product.
Yeah, so that was because.
This is multiplication.
Okay, that's what it wasn't. Parentheses.
Well, regardless of whether they're in parentheses or not, it is not 5 plus x and an x.
Okay.
So this is 5 times x times 4 minus x. This is x times x minus 1. You can definitely cross-cancel those x's.
So the x times 5.
Because it's multiplication, you can cross-cancel.
How likely is it that those two will be the same?
It's neither more or less likely. It's just what it is. And if it's not the same, then this would be a factor in the bottom. There's nothing wrong with that. If you can't cross them out, you can't cross them out. I am waiting. So homework 19 is what you're doing tonight, 3 to 17. And I would try to start homework 20, do number 20, and then 25 to 33 of this second part here.